Hey, so today I'm going to show you my method of creating my artwork for the tracks that I create. So it'll be album artwork, any of the singles artwork and that type of thing. And I thought the reason why I'd show this to you is because I have seen a lot of the time online people asking, oh, how do you actually create this stuff? Not really to me, but just to other people out there. It's a bit of discourse that's happening. And then you get this whole idea about should I use AI or not? And people have their own opinions about that. So, but I thought I'd show you what I do. Then you can kind of take it or leave it really. So first thing that you'll notice is that I use Photopea or Photopea, Photopea. I don't know. If you know how to pronounce that, then that's cool. Let me know. But yeah, Photopea is what I actually use because Photoshop is a little bit advanced for what it is that I need here. So that's the program that I use. And the way that I actually go about this is I'll think of what my track is actually about. So this particular track that I'm releasing in a couple of weeks is called Afterburn. And when I think about what Afterburn sort of feels like, or what it might look like, are probably things such as like the sun, sort of round spherical type of objects, quite sort of intense heat, hot, things like that. So what I do is I actually go to a website called Unsplash, which I'll just show you the front page here. And this is a page where you can, or a website really, where you can get free photos that are freely available to use. And then there are some paid sort of options as well. But I tend to just type in things like, well, you can see here some of the recent searches, so abstract. And then if you have seen any of my art covers before, you'll probably notice a few of the things in here if you kind of scroll through them. So that's sort of what I end up doing really. One of the pieces of artwork that I had found, which I thought suits the idea of Afterburn, is what I was talking about before, was this particular image. So it's got a bit of heat, intense heat there. So I used this one. So thank you, My Mind, for providing this piece of artwork. And the other one is this one here, which I found interesting because although it is blue, but it's got that spherical, it's got a kind of a acidic kind of look to it, which the track that I actually have, this track does contain a bit of a acidic type of tone to it as well. So I thought, well, those two are good starting points. And they've both got kind of a circular image, bit of imagery there as well, which is cool. So what do I actually do? Well, I've already made this artwork, so I'm just going to retrospectively show you how I do it. So basically I put the first piece into here. You'll notice it's obviously longer than a square. So I just end up reducing that down. Basically, I just expanded out so that it just covers this area. And I kept the circle or half circle at the bottom there. So basically what I didn't do anything with that at this stage. The next part was this piece of artwork here, which I'll just undo the multiply. So I just popped that in just as it is, moved this circular area further down the page so that it kind of matches sort of this area here. And what I do tend to do is when I use two images, and I've done this with a few pieces of artwork before, what I'll end up doing is I will multiply them or use one of these other effects here. So if you do multiply, you end up with this happening basically. Sort of mixes the two images together effectively. So what I do tend to do is work on the hue and saturation. And what did I do here with this one? So I pulled the hue down to about -91 because I was after a sort of an orangey reddish type of look. So somewhere around there anyway is what I had. But you'll notice it's quite dark, so that is a bit of an issue there. So what I did was I tend to use curves and pulled the curve up and about. I think it was more like that or something, but just basically did something until it brightens the image up. Now this looks pretty cool already, I think. What you've got here is quite a intense sort of burning effect. And it's literally I think the effects I'm using are actually burning through the artwork as well. And you've got this circular part here, which is keeping with the theme, a bit acidic, it looks hot. So that's the kind of the idea that I was after. And then I applied some levels to it just to brighten it up a little bit. You can kind of see the difference there, just to sort of brighten that up. What I did do is with the blue piece of artwork by Joel here, is I knocked the opacity down a little bit to about 94, I think. And it just, I don't know, I just think it looks better. You've got that and down to about here, but you can really kind of play with this. And kind of increasing it up slowly looks quite interesting anyway. Maybe a bit of a visual thing that I could do. But yeah, I moved it down to about 94, something like that. And that's more or less what I did, really. Yeah, so basically what I then do is add text into it, and here we go. This is more or less, this is the actual piece of artwork here that I use for it. So it literally, when creating this, it literally took me about 10 minutes to do, 5 to 10 minutes. Is it the most amazing piece of artwork ever? No, and I'm not really particularly going for that. I'm just going for something where I'm making quick decisions, just with the flow of it. I've got an idea of what I want, but the idea is just to make decisions quickly, and not use AI generated stuff as well. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is that I do like to be creative in the aspect of creating music, and that includes the covers, the artwork. It's just a piece of creativity that I can do, a bit of visual creativity. I'm pretty cool with that, and it's actually using, people's artwork, yes, attributing to their work as well. Really appreciate that, people like Joel and MyMind are providing this stuff that you can use, and as long as you credit them for it, basically, which is what I've done, what I'm doing here. The other thing is that it's just a bit of a perception thing. I don't use any real forms of like generative AI in the work that I do. I'm sure that you could probably think of maybe some plugins or something that use AI, but basically for writing the music and creating the music, I just don't use it at all, like Suno or whatever. I just don't. I just don't, basically. It's just not my style. I don't need to use it. Some people rely actually on using it, and it's just not something that I need. I just don't need it. I'm not after that perfect sound. I'm after a bit of grit, a little bit of human nature in there. I'm not after like the most perfect mix ever or perfect sounds, because that sounds pretty generic to me. And as you can see here anyway, I'm not particularly into generic pieces of work, and you can kind of see that with the artwork as well. The main thing is that if you put a piece of AI artwork onto your music, onto your cover, people are just going to assume that the track that you've created or the song that you've created is AI generated, basically, or heavily relied on that. And that just isn't a perception. That's just not an image that I personally want for my music, my brand. It's just not the direction I want to go in. If people want to do that, cool, do that. But that isn't anything that I'm going to be doing. So that's basically how I do my artwork. I thought you might be interested in that. Why not? So over and out. Thank you. See ya.